Hi, hello, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Music City, USA, as we bring you into tonight's coverage of the Fuel Grand National Series here on the NESRN. A pleasant good evening as we welcome you to Nashville, Tennessee for tonight's coverage of the Rocket for Rowdy 180K here at the Nashville Super Speedway. My name is Trey Wright for the North American Sim Racing Network. And we are just getting ready to go here in a few moments for what is not only the music-themed race of 2026 of season number 9, it is also a very somber race, as well, as this was it's going to be the first broadcast that we have here in season 9 past the unfortunate passing of Kyle Busch just less than 1 week ago. You know, our hearts go out to the entire Busch family as they go through this horrible time in their lives. We got plenty of drivers. We got about 22 entries on the card here for this evening. And it is a little bit of a rush production. I will be 100% transparent about that. I just got home from doing a broadcast, filming a town hall about 40 minutes north of here. So that fortunately ended just in time to get things going, as there's Vincenzo Focusato in one of the many Kyle Busch throwbacks that will be seen all throughout tonight. Here this evening, with about 2 minutes to go here, we're going to go ahead and update some of the number tags as well, as we realize some of the number tags are unfortunately incorrect. But there's John LaPrade in the 74, there's Tala Aziz in the 14. We'll go over some of the other music cars that we've got here this evening, but we wait for the green flag to drop. We're going to go ahead and take a few moments to get everything situated here as we get ready for race number 2 of the season here in Nashville, USA. Qualifying is just ready to wrap up, or our happy hour is just ready to wrap up here. There's a look at Crystal Bennett in the number 84 machine. Like we said, one of the many Kyle Busch throwbacks we've got here tonight. Drew Fast, as well as Grant Warren out on track, as we've got 20 seconds to go in this practice session or happy hour session. Plenty of different drivers out here on track tonight, and it is certainly going to be a fun one here at a very technical track that is Nashville. It's 1.3 miles long, and it's made of concrete. It's going to make things very interesting for all these drivers here tonight. But overall, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's broadcast here on the North American Sim Racing Network. on the pole for tonight, I believe, is going to be Apollo Hyde, and the number 100 machine will send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to fire the engines here for race number 2 of the segment here at the Nashville Superspeedway for the Rocket for Rowdy 180K.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the engines have fired to life here on the back straightaway at Nashville, and we have got plenty of cars getting ready to go here. We have got 26 cars on the grid, and they're being led to the green flag by Landon Lyle in the number 75 machine, with Apollo Hyde starting to his outside. Emi Schizzato and Drew Fast are going to be in row number 2, and Vincenzo Focusato along with the 54 of Victor Nunez will round out the starting 6 here for an 84-lap shebang in the Music City. For Landon Lyle, it's his first start in quite some time for the driver of the 75 Toyota as he leads the field to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out and away. Let's go racing here in Nashville. And Emi Schizzato jumping down to the low side, and immediately she's going to spin around. That's right in front of the rest of the pack. Tala Aziz able to drive on by. And the caution flag will come out for the opening time tonight on lap number 1. As Schizzato, who started this race in 3rd, loops it around. Fortunately for her, and a pretty good move by her to keep that 97 machine pointed in the right direction, but the caution flag coming out here on the opening lap of the race. And that'll keep Landon Lyle in that opening spot, and we saw it happen live. So Apollo Hyde will jump up into that 2nd spot. Drew Fast will remain in there in 3rd. And we'll go ahead, and we do realize we got a couple of number tags missing here, so Apollo Hyde will jump down the pit lane. Same thing with Drew Fast. And we'll go ahead, while we're fetching that replay, we'll go ahead and try and get a number tag or 2 back in here. So now we're missing a number tag for the 54. Put the correct number tag up for Rich Roy, who has been doing a fantastic job in the broadcast booth as well. As he looks like he's going to be racing a KISS car here tonight. So Apollo Hyde out and away as everybody will come off of the pit lane. Like we said, plenty of drivers coming in here tonight. We'll go ahead and see what happened with Emi Schizzato as she looped it around, coming down the back straightaway here for the opening time tonight, and goes from 3rd all the way back into the 28th spot. And we'll see it live. Just a little bit of a tap there from the 100, and that's ultimately what made it a multi. Looks like we also had an auxiliary incident in the back as well. Not sure if that had to do with anything as well as... Okay, so this was the ultimate cause of the caution. You'll see on your screen, up the racetrack went Rich Roy. Tyler Stolhood went down. It looks like, couldn't tell who that was that blipped in and out. It was Joey Tartamala, and that's what ultimately caused the caution. It's Tartamala, Corbin Wentz, and the 84 of Crystal Bennett also involved. So that was the ultimate cause of the yellow flag. Hyde back down the pit lane. Same thing with Nicky Conti. And I believe that is a Gonsalvern number 85 exit wound machine. I'll try to get to as many of the bands tonight as we can. But Landon Lyle, who he hasn't made a start in quite a while, here on that 75 car. As you can see on our screen, that very crudely put together at the literal last second 75. We might try and fix it up here a little bit. But plenty of drivers coming back here that we haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen Victor Nunez's 54 car in a while. Ike Durbin in the 86. I can't tell exactly who that is that he's sponsoring for tonight's band theme, but Taylor Stolworthy in the 101, another Kyle Busch throwback. Tala Aziz and Grant Warren. Glad to see Tala back in the fray in that number 14 car. We've actually got 25 cars on track here tonight. Got Bobby Simpson back there in that Luke Combs number 30 machine. Got T. Dorsey in the 6. We got Dunlop Prod. And, of course, we also have Blake Warren going from the 8 machine to the 83. And it's just, we're going to say it a lot here tonight. We said it, Rich Roy and I said it a lot during the Fast broadcast on Sunday evening. It still doesn't feel real that, Kyle Busch is no longer with us. And, again, we're wishing nothing but the best for his entire family. And Blake going from the 8 machine to the 83. And the 8 will be off limits for drivers for the foreseeable future. But green flag back out in the air as Landon Lyle and Drew Fast will lead the field back through the gearbox, with Will Goss looking for 2 wins in a row there on that 82 machine. Up the track goes Fast in the 4 car. He's looking for a little bit of practice time as the Fast Racing League, speaking of Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series will also be racing here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Will not be televised here on the NASRN, but you can still find a live stream of it over on Tyler Stallhood's channel. And speaking of Tyler Stallhood, he didn't go around, but we certainly had a couple of cars go around, one of them being Connor Edwards. Emmy Schizotto caught up in her second accident of the night. RJ Bishop, Rich Roy, and Corbin Wentz among the cars caught up. And the caution flag right back out here after what has been not the best of starts here for some of these drivers tonight, as we saw the same thing happen on Charlotte last week, where we had a big field, not as big as the one we've got here tonight with 25 cars on the grid, as Victor Nunez is going to go from 4th to the pit lane. But still a pretty sizable field. And when you get a pretty sizable field, Rich and I were talking about it on a Sunday night, you're going to get a lot of varying amounts of talent. You're going to get a lot of varying amounts of driving styles. And unfortunately, not a whole lot of those mesh with one another. There's plenty of cars down the pit lane. Hopefully we didn't see Apollo Hyde back in that mess, and she is pretty deep in the field back there in the 100. Nikki Conti currently 2 laps down. Same thing with Joey Tartamella. There's Conti in the 85. I believe she had to get some repairs on the pit lane as well. But Landon Lyle has led all 7 laps we've had so far tonight. 6 of them have been under the green flag, as Nunez coming back out, and he will go to the tail end of the field. Well, let's see what happened to put us under the caution flag once again. And that was right off of the restart. Going into turn number 4 this time, and it was at the back of the field as well, trying to see exactly where it started. It looks like Emmy Schizotto and Dunlop Prod may have had a little bit of a moment. Oh, Emmy is trying to avoid the 74, looped it around, and upside down goes Corbin Wentz in that American Idiot Chevrolet, that double-8 American Idiot car, going for a wild ride through the corner. That is unfortunately not what you want, as Wentz caught up in his second accident of the evening. We'll take another look at things here, and that was a very big overcorrection out of Emmy, unfortunately. When she's trying to do the right thing, trying to keep it away from the 74, she got really tight through the corner, looped it around. And like we said, Nashville is a very tough track to drive. It is very flat with only something about 14, maybe 15 degrees of banking in the corners, and it's concrete, which means there is absolutely no grip. And it's going to be a really big challenge for all these drivers here tonight. Landon Lyle on that 75 looking really nice so far. More cars coming back down the pit lane. And again, this is 84 laps here tonight, and which means, given the fuel numbers are probably going to be around 34-ish lap, 32 to 34 laps on a full tank of gas. And tires are probably going to be even a little less given how flat this track is. This is going to make things into at least a 2 to maybe 3 stop race for some of these drivers. We've already seen a handful of cars come down the pit lane multiple times. But it has certainly been an interesting start to this race, a start very similar to what we saw at Charlotte like we were talking about. And a start that Will Goss would like to take advantage of in that 82 machine, currently sitting in that 3rd spot. You know, and he came, I don't want to say completely out of nowhere last week at Charlotte, but he was one of the 3 front runners. And we thought that, Don Laprade was going to beat him and Vincenzo Focusato on tire strategy, but Laprade fell off a little bit late in the running. And it was a dogfight between Focusato and Goss there at the end, and Goss was able to get the upper hand to get Warren Wentz Racing's satellite program, Warhorse Racing, their first career win as an organization. As the Warhorse Racing drivers looking pretty solid right now. You got Grant Warren up in that 5th spot there in that 33 machine. No Bud Kerrang or... I'm trying to think who else is in that Warhorse Racing department. But Goss running in 3rd right now, like we were saying. Warren running in 5th. But right now, let's see if we can get things going once again. Its green flag is back out in the air. Lyle fast. Goss, Nunez, and Warren, your top 5 going back through the gearbox. Here we go once again. Goss looking to go in the middle line, going up the racetrack. Goes Lyle, and around goes fast. Nunez trying to jump on the brakes. That's in front of everybody else. Everybody scatters as fast as broadside on the rest of the track. Do we remain green? We do. That was not a multi. As Fast loop that Valvoline Charger around, and now the caution flag will come out. Do we have an extra incident? We do not. So I believe it was determined that that was indeed a multi-car incident. I'm not sure if Fast nicked anybody, but 3rd caution already in the opening 9 laps of the night, and I believe that should relegate the field to single file restarts here for the rest of the evening. And Fast going a little bit higher up the track than he would want to in that 4 car. Just nothing you can really do there as a driver when that car just steps out from back behind you. So Fast will be put behind Rich Roy and everybody else. So Landon Lyle continuing to lead every single lap so far, has led 12 this evening, and it's just going to be a quickie yellow. So quickie caution. Still have 25 cars remaining on track. Joey Tartamella still trying to repair some damage in that 25 car. He's currently 5 laps down. Nicky Conti back on the lead lap, or he's currently 1 lap down, so 23 cars currently on the lead lap. Quick stop for Tyler Stallhood in that Blink 182. Take off your jacket and pants. Dodge Charger. Lap Car Enterprises not having the best of nights so far. Of course, Drew Faster's bringing out our most recent caution. Tyler Stallhood involved in the opening 2 cautions as well. And here's Crystal Bennett, boss lady in that 84 machine for Lap Car Enterprises and LCE. Trying to turn things around, but we still have plenty of time to go here in this 180-kilometer race. We'll do things once again. Let's try things for the 4th time as Lyle and Goss will lead the field back through the gearbox. Here we go at Nashville once more. Goss on the outside lane, like you said, like we were seeing a lot here tonight. You don't want to get too high on the outside lane, and Goss going the long way around that 85, but he's going to get the run off the corner, and he will clear. One car into the outside wall in the back. That was Schizzato, who was missing a rear end in that 97 machine. And here we go on lap number 14. Are we going to get a green flag laps here tonight? I believe we are. No, when around goes Kenny Campos, sailing his way through the infield. Will remain green for now. And no caution as Campos got light coming out of turn number 4, spun that 18 machine around, and he's trying to grab a gear once again as Tate Dorsey looks like he also went around that lap. Once again, single car incidents do not warrant a caution flag. Already 3 cautions deep into this race, and meanwhile, Lyle with a counterattack on the outside of Will Goss. He's trying to go the long way around that 75. He said, you know what, Will, if you could do it to me, I can do it to you. He's all the way up, running the Larson line off of the wall. And those two side by side as Dorsey bringing it down to the inside. He might park that 6 machine. Apollo Hyde inside the top 10 once again. 3 wide back through here. Dorsey trying to limp his way back to the pit area. Tala Aziz blinking in and out there a little bit. That's a long time. That 14 car has been blinked in and out. She may have disconnected. I don't know where that 14 machine is. She is somewhere out on track, and this could be a little bit of a time bomb. There she is, right in front of Trek Tauger. Yeah, she's disconnected a couple of different times, and that 14 looking pretty edgy out there. We'll have to check back. So you can see that ally machine buzzing in and out, and everybody just trying to get away. RJ Bishop also banging and bonging out there a little bit as we got plenty of 2 and 3 wide back through here. You got Wentz on the low side. Tauger just a little bit light through the corner. Back up the track he goes. He's not going to have a whole lot of room. So another car spun off turn number 2. Not sure who it was. I believe it may have been Kenny Campos as well, as he has retired from the event. That'll bring the field back down to 24 cars. It's Corbin Wentz, I think he's trying to come down the pit lane. He got very squirrely and got very slow coming out of 3. Wentz will drop down to the low side. Got Lyle, you've got Goss. How about Ike Durbin, the run that he's having right now? Of course, he is currently under fire from Dunlop Rod, who's marched his way up through the field. Apollo Hyde looking to do the same. And how about Taylor Stolworthy with a top 10 run as of right now? The king of the super speedways and the king of the dirt tracks as well, and he might go underneath this 86 car as Ike goes into the wall just a tad. Victor Nunez has dropped down a couple of spots as he'll look to make his way back up through the field. Bobby Simpson running in the top 10. That's a really great run for him right now in 8th. Nikki Conti back on the lead lap. She's up to 9th as Tate Dorsey, I think he's just going to park that 6 machine, and not sure what the deal is with the 6. But Crystal Bennett inside the top 10, trying to take that 9th spot away from the 85. And Vincenzo Focusato, not up to the usual snuff that we have seen him in this 37 car. He is pretty deep in the field, all the way back in 14th for this 37 machine, so tough run for him early on. Got Tyler Stallhood, your most recent winner here on the North American Sim Racing Network, running in 15th right now. Trek Tauger runs in 16th. Emmy Schizzato trying to salvage a 17th out of tonight. Still plenty of time to go. Only a quarter of the way through the race. RJ Bishop running in here in that 18th spot. Rich Roy currently is 19th. And Connor Edwards looking for a solid top 20 run. Tala Aziz has dropped back to 21st. Corbin Wentz is 22nd. Actually, Corbin Wentz is 21st. Connor Edwards is 20th. Tala Aziz is actually 5 laps down. I believe she disconnected. Yeah, the She disconnected for a little bit, so she is currently 5 laps down. So Corbin Wentz is in 21st, and he is currently the last car on the lead lap, the way things run right now. Tate Dorsey's 4 laps down. Kenny Campos is 5 laps down, as Tala Aziz will pass Kenny Campos, who's retired from the race, and Joey Tartamala currently 6 laps down, last on the pylon. Will Goss has dropped off, and here come LaPrade and Hyde, and they've got the Jaws theme playing for both those drivers. It's Landon Lyle right now. A minnow in a shark pond with a couple of great whites right behind him. Here comes LaPrade, not going to make the pass off turn 4 this time. And the top 3 have pulled away from Will Goss. Goss dropping back considerably. Hyde on the low side. You don't want to run quite to the mustard line too much, because then, well, like we've seen a lot tonight, the back end is really going to step out. Hyde running that lower line. LaPrade running the high side, and see LaPrade running that high side a lot here in his entire NR career. He loves to run the Larson line, and that's exactly what he's doing tonight. But Landon Lyle has really impressed me in this 75. Like we said, it has been quite a while. I'm not sure if he's been in a race since the live stream era here with the Fuel Grand National Series, right at the end of Season 7, I want to say. Either Season 6 or Season 7, because we're on Season 9 right now. We just finished Season 8. Season 7, yeah, so at the end of Season 6, at the finale race at Iowa. Not sure if he's been a part of that. I'm pretty sure he was part of that Iowa race, the first ever race we streamed here on the NESRN. But he has been doing a really good job tonight, has led 23 laps. Again, the majority of that was under yellow flag conditions. But we've had a solid 12, 13 lap green flag run brewing. Of course, now that I say that, something is going to go disastrously wrong, and it nearly did there as Ike Durbin dropping off. He and Bobby Simpson made some contact, and looking to pick off that 86 car, a couple of Kyle Busch Hendrick cars. You got the 84 of Bennett into the 86, and Ike Durbin way up the track. He's going to lose a lot of spots. He was running in the 6th position, and it looks like he is going to fall way outside the top 10. He might fall down outside of the top 15. Something might be amiss on that Millennium Autosport Mazda. Focusato passed him. It looks like that'll drop that 86 car 6 spots. He was in 6th, and then it looks like he's going to be down to 12th after riding the Lightning a little too hard there in turn 2. That will be a pretty tough break for him as well. And these top trio continue to pull away from Will Goss. Last time by, they were 3 seconds ahead of the 82. And this time around, I think they might be a little bit further ahead of Will Goss as well. It's really been LaPrade that's been pushing Lyle. But like we know, out of the 74 and 100 drivers, they love to run on these long runs, and we're closing in on this opening round of pit stops. Landon Lyle and Don LaPrade have not made a pit stop yet. We expect these guys to come down as Lyle throws an aggressive block. Going down a little bit lower is LaPrade. Have to watch out for some contact between these two drivers. Lyle way up the track in the 75. LaPrade has the edge going through 2. Can Lyle hold on, get the run off the corner? He's not going to do so in time, and Don LaPrade will go out to the race lead for now. Can Lyle hold on for the counterattack? We haven't seen what Lyle is capable on older tires. We know that both Hyde and LaPrade love to run on older tires. But Lyle has been keeping the pace with these guys, and even though they're battling with one another, they just put another 1/10 of a second onto Will Goss. And the battle for 5th brewing right now between, like we said, a couple of generations of Kyle Busch cars. You've got the 54. Victor Nunez up high, Crystal Bennett down low. Now, unfortunately, we weren't able to have a silent lap 8 because of all the early cautions that we had. Tate Dorsey still in the pit lane. He is 12 laps down. Joey Tartamala has rejoined the pack, and we'll see if we get any takers here relatively soon. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case as of right now, so it looks like these guys might run a little bit longer than we anticipated. Corbin Wentz will come down the pit lane as he was about to be lapped by the leaders anyway. And Joey Tartamala has retired from the race as well, so that'll drop the field down to 23 cars out on track. 3 caution flags, all of them in the opening 14 laps. 23 cars remaining. 20 of them are on the lead lap as Corbin Wentz will go a lap down. Tala Aziz has been given all but one of her laps back, so that'll put her in a fight for the lucky dog along with Corbin. We got plenty of really good battles brewing here as Hyde has gotten around Lyle. And watch out for these two drivers to put one another into a little bit of a battle here on lap 35. 50 laps to go here in tonight's 84-lap event here at the Nashville Super Speedway, part of our full season-long coverage of the Fuel Grand National Series here on the North American Sim Racing Network, and plenty of races to be ran here for the rest of season number 9. As Hyde moves underneath the 74. Got Michigan coming up next week, Pocono 2 weeks after that. And we got Long Beach. I'm trying to remember what's after Long Beach. I believe it's not Chicagoland. Chicagoland is weekend the 4th of July. Trying to remember what's between Long Beach and Chicagoland. I believe it is Bent Twig. I'll double check the schedule here real quick. And it is indeed Bent Twig. That's between Long Beach and Chicagoland. And that will definitely be, well, Rich Roy will be in the booth for that. And that's certainly going to be a very fun race. And this has turned into a very fun race as well. You know, it's glad to have Don LaPrade in here as much as we can. You know, we've talked to him so many times. We were talking to him last week about him potentially trying to run full-time here for this championship. Of course, you know, personal stuff. And NR2003 does not come first. I completely get that. But it's always nice to have Don LaPrade. You know, Don, he is such a character both off the track and on the track. And whenever Don is on the track, everybody has got to be on their toes. And he is putting everybody on their toes here tonight. 0.2 of a second ahead of Apollo Hyde. Landon Lyle has slipped back to more than a second behind the 74. This tire wear is certainly coming into play, as I thought Apollo was going to come down that time by. But everybody has gotten really spread out, and now lap traffic is going to be a factor. These guys don't come down the pit lane relatively soon. You got Trek Tauger, first one in the gun sights, not quite on the same. He's on the same straightaway as Dunn. Trek currently about 28 seconds behind the 74 car, so he's 2 seconds in front. And that's going to be a little bit more here off of the corner as Dunn is running really well. Dunn's best lap of the race, a 30.7, and only a 1/10 of a second dropped off on the tire wear. So these guys don't have a whole lot of tire wear right now. It's just a question of fuel. And you do tend to see not a whole lot of tire wear and tire fall off on these concrete tracks. You know, we were talking about a Dover, as here we go right at lap 41. Don LaPrade is going to come down the pit lane to open the cycle, and are we going to see if this race does go caution-free? We could see potential pit strategy race and a potential fuel mileage race as well, as LaPrade down the pit lane for the opening time tonight here on lap 42. Next time by will be halfway home. And Apollo Hyde is going to stay out for an extra lap. We'll lead at halfway. That'll be 5 bonus points for the 100 team. We'll see if that will cost her at all. She goes up the racetrack. Like we said, fall off is not really a big thing here for a lot of these drivers, and we'll have to see if that extreme overcut hurts the 100 at all. But looks like Apollo's going to come. No, she's going to remain out. And remember, she did come down a couple of times during those first couple of pit stops, so she does have a little bit of rubber on that 100, so she can stay out as long as she wants, a little bit extra. As around, RJ Bishop, that's right in front of the race leader. He's got to hold the brake. Everybody in front of the 48, and he's going to wisely put that car straight into reverse and will remain green. And that was about as dangerous of a situation as you could get for Apollo Hyde. And good news for Apollo. Staying on the racetrack is that 48 machine. Grant Warren back down the pit lane as well. 40 laps to go. This also puts Apollo into a really good spot to be able to make it to the end of this race with just one more pit stop. Wentz up the track. That's right in front of the 100s line. She's going to run a little bit higher. Dorsey is down. Rather, that's Connor Edwards down, along with the 75 of Landon Lyle. So Lyle went about 30 laps on that run. Actually, no, he ran about 45 laps on that run because he has not made a pit stop yet. So it looks like about 40 to 45 laps is going to be the main window for a lot of these drivers. And that's definitely going to put this 100 car in a really good spot. So right now, Dunn is 42 seconds behind the 100. And he is currently a lap down, so Rich Roy also a little bit out of shape in that KISS 100, KISS 29 machine. And also going around is Victor Nunez, and the caution flag is going to fly, so hold on. This is on. That was right in the middle of pit stops, and that is going to trap so many drivers that were on that undercut strategy a lap down, and either it's going to cut them a lap down or they're going to have to definitely make a second pit stop. And that is not what you wanted to see if you're Dunlop-Prod and Landon Lyle, who got out ahead of Dunlop-Prod. And he was 6 seconds ahead of the 74. So that's going to completely kill Landon Lyle. As Rich Roy, I'm not sure if he's going to get the lucky dog since he was the cause of the caution, or at least part of the caution. But this just absolutely plays perfectly into the wheelhouse of Apollo Hyde's strategy. She's going to come down the pit lane. And we'll see everybody else will likely make their one and only pit stop that they've got remaining here tonight. Drew Fast spinning to the outside wall in the 4. He was up into the 3rd spot on that same strategy as Hyde. Bennett will come down as well. And here we go for Apollo Hyde in that 100 machine. Bobby Simpson is going to beat out Apollo Hyde. Actually, he was 2 laps down, so that's not going to mean a whole lot on the track. I'd fill that car full up with Sunoco Racing fuel, and Nikki Conti will come out second in relation to Apollo. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what happened to put us under our 4th caution flag of the night, and that was our longest green flag run by far. And that's all got started between Victor Nunez and, a little bit of a rear-end pack there by the 29 of Rich Roy. Turns 1 and 2 have been eating a lot of drivers for breakfast here tonight. Nunez goes around, and Rich Roy just nowhere to go, and that was right in front of Apollo again. So that is the 2nd time in this race that Apollo Hyde had a wreck happen right in front of her, and fortunately, she was able to avoid both of them. We'll take a look at the first incident that we had. That was with RJ Bishop in the 48. And we'll see pretty much the exact same thing happen going through turn 2. Oh yeah, the back end completely stepped out from that 48 Chevrolet, and Hyde having to make some evasive maneuvers as well, and RJ just quickly and wisely put it in reverse and just mashed the gas. And this is going to be very interesting, this strategy call and this restart for a lot of guys. Because you've got a ton of drivers that are going to be on the tail end of the lead lap. You got a ton of guys that are going to be doing the wave around as well. The way I'm reading it right now, Landon Lyle is ahead of Apollo Hyde. But I believe that is because Apollo came down the pit lane. I believe, oh yeah, as Landon Lyle is going to come back down the pit lane just trying to gas it up here with 35 to go. He should be well on his way to making it. Apollo is going to be the leader. And plenty of cars taking the wave around, but this is, you got to feel bad for Dunlap. He was on a great strategy because I wholeheartedly believe that Dunn on those fresher tires was going to gain a little bit of ground on the 100, and it all just comes down to pit strategy. It all just comes down to pit strategy. And unfortunately, caution came out right in the middle of green flag pit stops. It's the last thing you want. And we're only going to have 11 cars on the lead lap after all of this. So Apollo Hyde's going to restart from the top lane. Drew Fast will start from the bottom. Tyler Stallhood up in the 3rd spot. With Crystal Bennett in 4th. Emmy Schizzato, good recovery for her. She's back in 5th, and this is really going to jumble things up here with 33 laps to go here in the Rocket for Rowdy 180K. Hyde gets an incredible jump on the outside lane, and she's just trying to get out of Lebanon. Blitzing in out there for a brief moment, and around goes Blake Warren up into the 85. Those two make contact, and that will be a multi. Or will it? Connor Edwards having to drive through the accident scene. Blake Warren still around. Those two did spin simultaneously as Rich Roy also went around in the 29. Like we said, turn 2 off the restart has been not the greatest, and the caution flag will come out. And that'll be good for, I believe Tala Aziz will be getting the free pass. As trying to see where Nikki Conti, as she's going to drop down the order after being one of the 3 cars to spin. 5th yellow flag of the night. And Hyde will finally meet the pace car around. And Drew Fast will remain in 2nd. And like we said, this is really going to jump up a lot of the grid. How about Tate Dorsey? Still, you know, he's 16 laps down. But he is still out there after fighting engine issues all night long. He's been staying out of the way, doing his thing. Just trying to soldier that 6 machine to a 23rd place run here this evening. We've got a couple of cars down the pit lane. Dunlap will be coming down, since it looks like he's going to be back on the lead lap after that wave around, so that caution saving his bacon a little bit, but he's going to lose quite a bit of track position in the process. And I just see nothing but, you know, a positive outcome for Apollo Hyde as of right now, because she has proven that of these top couple of guys, you know, Will Goss, he also came down the pit lane that time by. Landon Lyle came down. You know, they're all marred really deep in the field right now. As we'll go ahead and grab a look at what happened here. 3 cars going around. All of them were single car incidences initially. And it started with Blake Warren in the 83. Blake went around, collected the 6. Nicky also went around in the 85, and those two got together trying to see where Rich Roy, I believe, he just spun around by himself. We never put up the live graphic. That's the kind of night it has been here, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go. The game bugged a little bit in and out. You see Blake going around, Nicky slamming on the brakes. Those two get into one another, and then Rich just losing it by himself in the 29. But here we go. So it looks like we are going to be getting single file restarts from here on out, as well as what I'm hearing from the tower. And that is, again, the good news just keeps on coming for Apollo Hyde, and it has really been a very, I don't want to say unorthodox start to the season for Apollo, but it has certainly not been what you wanted. You know, has not gotten a podium yet in the opening 2 races of Season 9. Finished last in the All-Star race 2 weeks ago, and then last week got her first non-podium finish in about a year in that 100 machine after finishing 4th in the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation 150 at Charlotte last week. So she's been on a little bit of a cold start to start the season. Of course, a win here tonight in Nashville could completely cure all evils as the green flag is back out and away. Do we get through turn 2? Tate Dorsey pinballing a little bit. RJ Bishop is just going to let off on the gas a little bit to help Tate remain straight for right now as they thunder off into 3. Crystal Bennett starting to really come alive in that 84 car. And how about Emmy Schizzato? Did not have the start that she wanted here tonight. Looks like that. Looked like it was going to be a really tough going for that 97 car here this evening, and here she is on pit strategy, up in the 5th spot. Same thing for Vincenzo Focusata. He was running it down in the order as far down as 14th, and thanks to the caution flag coming out when it did, he's going to be up in that 5th spot with 13 cars on the lead lap. The majority of them a lap down due to the caution coming out in the middle of pit stops. Blake Warren is just on the tail end of the lead lap along with Connor Edwards. Actually, Edwards is currently 1 lap down, trying not to go 2 laps down with 26 to go. And Apollo has just been really good on these restarts, and you go back to our nearest competition. That's going to be Dunlaprod and Landon Lyle, who are currently, last time by, were 1.6 seconds off of the 100. Landon is trying to drive that into 75 like he stole it. He got around Emmy that last time by. That'll move the 75 up into the top 5. Trying to get around Vincenzo Focussato as well. Same thing with Dunlaprod. And remember, they are on relatively fresher tires than Apollo Hyde. The tire wear hasn't meant a whole lot, but they can push the envelope a little bit more than Hyde can. And that last time by Landon Lyle, he was 1.8 seconds, so he lost 0.2 of a second. Granted, it was from trying to pass the 97 a little bit as he went in and out of the world. Will Goss also got the Jaws theme playing on the 97. Schizzato beginning to drip back a little bit. Lyle thought about going 3 wide between Focussato and Edwards. Daddy's going to go on the yellow line, flip the apron a little bit, goes way up the track, and that's going to kick the door wide open for Laprade. Lyle's going to kick it right back shut, however. Those two battling side by side. The more they battle, the more they're going to lose a little bit more time to Apollo Hyde. They're currently 1.6 seconds away from the 100, and here we go. Here's the battle for the race lead. Drew Fast moving underneath of Apollo Hyde. Fast, I know he would absolutely love to get a fuel win. 3 wide off the corner, back in there. They remain straight. Here we go for the race lead. Fast right underneath of Apollo with Blake Warren, the lap down car, getting a front row seat to this action. And Hyde will remain steadfast with the race lead for the time being. The more those two battle, the more it's going to play right into the advantage of Lyle, Laprade, and Goss, as those two have chipped in significantly by 0.4 of a second that last time by. So they are closing in on Apollo, and if Drew can just put the 100 on the outside lane a little bit more. She got very tight coming out of turn 2. That's going to open up the door for Fast once again. And don't look now. With these two battling, that has brought Vincenzo Focasato as well as Crystal Bennett into the fray. Lyle goes up the track. Focasato ditzing around a little bit in the 37. Laprade is nowhere to go. Are we going to see 4 wide here in Nashville? We are going to see 4 wide. Lyle goes through. Same thing with Laprade. Focasato down on the apron. He's able to save it. You wanted the best, you got him 4 abreast there for a brief moment, and we remain green. Lyle now moving underneath of Bennett for 3rd. And these 3 of Lyle, Laprade, and Goss is, ooh, that got super tight there off of the corner there for Lyle. Here we go as Laprade looks to the high side, 3 wide for 3rd. Laprade up high. Bennett just trying to lay back a little bit, and Lyle looking to hold on to the spot. He's not going to get the slide job. Laprade gets the run off of turn 2. And he will move into 3rd place. Meanwhile, the top 2 have pulled away from everybody else, but with 18 laps to go this next time by, this race is certainly far from over here in Nashville. You know, you wanted a rowdy race here tonight in honor of Rowdy Busch. It certainly has been rowdy. 5 caution flags on the night. Currently 3 cars out of the race. RJ Bishop has retired and Corbin Wentz unfortunately going to the garage for a gearbox failure. We're side by side for the lead once again. Drew, I know he just wants to lead a lap of that outside lane. Has been nothing but picture perfect for Apollo Hyde. She's going to lead her 26th lap of the evening, currently 3 laps away from usurping Landon Lyle with the most laps led. I believe Tate Dorsey, you know what, there is enough time for Tate to get up inside the top 21. She's just probably going to take 1 more car, retiring from the race to put Tate inside the top 20. That 16 car currently, or that 6 car currently 6 laps down. But right now, last time by, Laprade only a second back of the 100. I don't even think he was a second back. I can't tell the intervals from here. Yeah, he was a second back of the 100, so he's gaining a little bit. You know, turns 3 and 4 have really been Laprade's strong suit tonight. Lyle goes into the wall a tad. And Drew Fast has battled through a lot of adversity. You could see there a little bit just how much damage he's got onto the right side of that Valvoline Charger. And it would be excellent. I know Crystal Bennett, you know, she's dropped back considerably as she's wheel-to-wheel with Focasato. You know, Crystal, she's dropped back, and the caution flag is out. Yellow is out on the speedway as Truck Togger around in turn number 2. He got a little bit of help from somebody. And here we go. With 15 laps to go, the question of if these guys were going to settle it out on a long green flag run has gone out the window. It's shootout time here in Nashville. Blake Warren, I believe, will be getting the free pass after all that, and tough break for Trek Tauger, one of the many cars that was caught a lap down. And do we see some takers down the pit lane? Hyde is going to bring a lot of people down, and here we go. This is the true money stop tonight. With 14 laps to go, everybody is down pit lane to make what should be their final pit stop of the night. Dunlop, the deepest in the field of everybody, going into his pit stall first. And that could be an advantage for him. I'm liking where Landon Lyle is right now. He's got that #1 pit stall, and he could very well take the race lead. There's a 74 just coming out. He's got a trundle at pit lane speed. Lyle now on the left side. Jack has dropped for Apollo Hyde. She's got to be very tight getting around the 75, and Apollo Hyde will win the race off of the pit lane. That was very tight for everybody coming out of the pits. But Apollo Hyde is going to get the best track position when we come back. Drew Fast came out second. I could have swore it was Landon Lyle that came out second, and those two might have a discussion or a debate who came out second off of the pit lane. But so lap down cars will pit. We'll see exactly what happened with Trek Tauger. And it looks like our old friend Rich Roy may have given him a little bit of a pop through the corner, and unfortunately a chrome horn turned into a chrome bumper and sent that 60 car spinning into the outside wall, and a tough break for that Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse program, and that is really gonna shake things up a ton. So Bobby Simpson and Trek Tauger, I believe Trek stayed out. So I believe he and Bobby Simpson are just going to be taking the wave arounds, as they're both just one lap down. Yeah, Tauger's on the tail end of the lead lap, so he's going to take the wave around here. Not sure where Bobby Simpson is on the pylon. He's currently 18th, one lap down. A couple more cars just coming off of the pit lane. And it has been an incredible race here this evening. Got off to a little bit of a rough start. 3 caution flags inside the opening 14 laps. But ever since then, we have gotten 3 more caution flags, but we have seen some really good green flag racing. And it looks like the nonsense that came out from the pit strategy from earlier on in the race, where the caution flag came out right in the middle of pit stops, looks like that has sorted itself out at least a little bit. You've still got Vincenzo Focusato, who's run really well. Actually, you know what, Focusato, he's had the speed ever since that set of pit stops. And he has proven that he is probably going to try and get a solid top 10 finish at a very tough track for Vincenzo. But here is the shot. It's going to be 10 laps to go. When we go back through the Geico restart zone, point of no return is with 5 to go. So we have got time for only 1 more caution flag before the end of this race. You got Apollo Hyde, who's led 32 laps tonight, dominant driver of the evening, but Drew Fast, who has not led a single lap tonight. He is one of the hungriest drivers we've got on the grid. Landon Lyle, in his return to the Fuel Racing League, looking to open Season 9 with a bang for him. Same thing with Dunlop, trying to get some redemption after Charlotte last week, as is Apollo Hyde. And Will Goss looking to go 2 for 2 to start off season number 9. And Ike Durbin is back in the fold after going up into the outside wall midway through the race and losing 6 spots. Pace car is down the pit lane. Hyde leads them back through the gearbox, and green flag back out of the air. 10 laps remain in Nashville. And around in the back, 1 car, that's Bobby Simpson that went off the back end of somebody. Landon Lyle immediately shooting to the low side. 3 wide for the race lead, and up the racetrack. A Hyde keeps it straight. Somehow the 100 didn't go around, and Landon Lyle shooting for the race lead right underneath the 4. That got so sketchy you would think that it was a middle school bathroom, and Landon Lyle going from 3rd to 1st in only a mile. With 9 laps to go here in Nashville, this race still far from over, and you've got 5 dominant cars under a blanket right now. Lyle goes up the track a little bit. Fast still there in the 4, and Dunlop has gotten around Apollo Hyde. Whatever advantage Apollo had has gone out the window a little bit in that 100. She did not get the greatest restart in the world. And that has dropped her down to 4th. Lyle in that first spot right now. 8 laps to go. And Drew's got to be aggressive in that 4 car. Dunn is going to be aggressive. And how about the manufacturer diversity that we've got here? You've got a Toyota leading the race. You got a Dodge in 2nd. Chevy runs in 3rd. Subaru runs in 4th. Will Goss in that Chevrolet rounding out the top 5. First forward in line is Emi Schizato in that 7th spot. You got Mazda running in 6th. 7 to go, and Landon Lyle looking to check out of the Nashville Hotel as you got Fast on the outside lane. I thought I saw the caution lights on, but will remain green for the moment. LaPrade on the outside of Fast. Those two, door to door, wheel to wheel. If I'm Drew, I'm just letting the 74 car go on by. Because the more you play around with LaPrade, the more that's going to allow this 75 car to close out away from everybody with 6 to go. And that's exactly what Drew's going to do for now. And Dunn is now going to set his sights exclusively on Landon Lyle. LaPrade has had the upper hand in that battle all evening long. And I know Apollo was just desperate to try and get a podium. Last thing that she would want would it to be back-to-back non-super speedway races with a 4th place finish. A little close for comfort there between Schizato and Bennett. Those two will remain straight for the time being. And right now the gap just 0.3 of a second between the 75 and the 74 with 5, count 'em, 5 laps to go. If you're Landon Lyle, you are trying to play the 4-6 nickel defense here for the Chicago Bears. LaPrade down to the inside. Those two swapping the lines on the track that they were running, and they nearly touched coming off of the corner. LaPrade with a big run, has a ledge on the inside of Lyle. It's going to be close. Landon Lyle on the outside, not really running on the high side tonight, but LaPrade hasn't run on the low side either, and that's going to cancel each other out. There's still wheel to wheel. LaPrade will tuck back in right behind the 75. So Lyle proving that he is able to run both the low line and the high line, but LaPrade running the low line nearly got into that Supra once again. Lyle with the advantage at the stripe. LaPrade, can he hold on to it through turns 1 and 2? Like we said, we're under 5 to go. We've got 3 laps to go. We're at the point of no return. If there's a caution, or rather, if there is a wreck now, that'll be the end of the race, and this race still very far from over. Fast knows the time is now to move underneath that 75 car, and LaPrade trying to do anything he can. And how about Apollo Hyde? Fast throws the block, sticks high in the air, 2 laps to go. Here comes Drew Fast. He just about takes the edge off of the 100. Here he goes, sending it through turns 1 and 2. Lyle nearly forced into the wall, and we're going to go 4 wide for the race lead. We're not just yet. Hyde now moves underneath of LaPrade. She's trying to get aggressive as Drew Fast nearly took out everybody. This has been the closest that Drew Fast has been to a Fuel Grand National win in quite some time. They're 3 wide for second, white flag in the air. One more time around the Nashville Super Speedway, and Landon Lyle hoping everybody just wrecks behind him. They're still battling for second. LaPrade not done yet. He's going to send that 74 car through the corner. Hyde now up into third. Lyle throws the block down low. LaPrade looking high. That's been the place that LaPrade has been so executing well on the outside lane tonight. Is he going to get the run off of the corner? He looks back down low. It's not going to be enough. Looks down low once again. It's a drag race to the start-finish line. But Landon Lyle wins a wild one here at Nashville. A crazy race in a crazy town. And Landon Lyle is going to be the one whose neon dreams become a reality. He wins the Rocket for Rowdy 180K. What a return to Fuel Grand National for Landon Lyle. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's his first career win in the Grand National Series, and he had to fight off 3 of the most aggressive drivers in series history to do it. Dunn, LaPrade, and Apollo Hyde will round out your podium. What a race to the end. Landon is going to celebrate it. He is going to burn it down. And that Forever Rowdy Kyle Busch tribute livery. It's only fitting that a Toyota Supra would end up in victory lane here tonight. One of only 2 or 3 Supras being ran here this evening. Landon Lyle giving everybody a smoke show on the front straightaway. He is your winner. So he's going to go to the start-finish line, continuing to burn down that Supra until the cows come home. And how about that for him? You know, everybody is saying it. How well this Xfinity and now O'Reilly's car is. You know, and this doesn't really just extend to Fuel Grand National. This is just the O'Reilly cars in general have been so fun to watch. And that's exactly what we're seeing here tonight as Landon is going to try and find victory lane. I'm not sure if there is an opening or not. He's going to try and find a way to victory lane somewhere around the track. I'm not sure if there might be an opening. That might be a wall, though. Is it a wall? It is not a wall. Landon Lyle is in the infield, and he's going to go to Gatorade victory lane. As we take a look at the official standings, we had 20 cars finish the race tonight. 15 of them were on the lead lap. Landon Lyle, Dunlop Prod, and Apollo Hyde are your podium, with Drew Fast and Will Goss rounding out the top 5 here this evening. But that is the first segment of our broadcast, and we'll go ahead. And once we take that down, we'll get the post-race interviews started here. We'll get that quickly underway. But Landon Lyle, your winner of the Rocket for Rowdy 180K here tonight at the Nashville Superspeedway. We'll be back in a moment here for the post-race interviews for tonight's coverage of the Fuel Grand National Series here on the North American Sim Racing Network. And we welcome you back to the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Fuel Grand National Series. The second closest finish in Fuel GN history has just taken place as Landon Lyle just edging out Dunlop at the line to win the Rocket for Rowdy 180K for his first career Grand National Series win. Big congratulations to him. We'll hear from him in a couple of moments, but overall, we'll bring in all of our podium finishers, starting with the driver of the number 100 Idle Machine, Ms. Apollo Hyde. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth. Well, that was a very up and down race for you here tonight, with the majority of it being up, but off that final restart, how aggressive everybody got, it looked like it was going to be a potential streak of non-podium finishes on non-drafting tracks. First and foremost, walk us through the absolute insanity of that final restart with 10 laps to go, and especially the insane racing we saw in those final 3 laps.
From start to finish. Obviously, we had the couple of cautions early, and then we got that long green flag run where this Subaru was just hooked up. Just like last year, I had an absolute rocket ship on the long run. But when our car fired off on the cold tires, it was pretty loose. And I was figuring out how pretty loose it was with Drew behind me on the restart before the final one. I couldn't pull away from him, and every single time they got close to me, my car just kept on, the SN kept on one go around. So with 10 laps to go, I know that I'm probably in for a bad time. So I see Drew take the high lane. I was figuring he was going to go up there in turn 1. I had been using the bottom the entire race. I didn't really feel comfortable using the top. And yeah, Landon snuck it into the bottom of me going 3 wide. I wasn't expecting that at all. And it kind of put me behind the 8 ball, but we recovered a little bit, ended up with 3rd place. And if this was like a 90-lap race, I think I would have gotten back behind the other 2, because that's just how strong our car was on a longer run. But yeah, this was a crazy race, pretty much from start to finish. It didn't exactly start the way that we wanted, because we got caught up in that first lap incident. But we recovered really quickly, fought our way through the field, got back up to the lead, was leading for quite a bit of it. And then we got to the final stage where, unfortunately, these final restarts, as it's probably been known at this point, can be quite the Achilles heel of mine. I'm just glad that we were able to get the idle gateway car back onto the podium.
Yeah, and that was a very, very tight battle for the podium. And that was a very tight battle for the win, where you talked about it. You just put in the Discord server. You can't believe that we got a 4-wide moment in the final couple of laps at a track like this. But, you know, we talked about it a little bit during the broadcast, but there are some similarities between this track in Las Vegas, where, you know, it's a flat tri-oval with not a whole lot of banking. It allows cars to really pick there's multiple grooves as well, so it allows cars to really, drivers to really pick where they want to run. We saw Dunn running a lot of the top here tonight. We saw Landon and you running a lot of the bottom. We saw some drivers taking the middle. You know, how would you compare this race to like the insanity that we'd see at Las Vegas? And, you know, how do you really how do you think Nashville just really is as a track to drive?
Yeah, so this was really surprising coming out of this, because the previous 2 times that Fuel had come to Nashville, they were one-sided clobberings. And I was kind of figuring that might end up happening again tonight with how good of a car we had. But there were good, obviously we had the top 4. We were all under a blanket there on that final run. I don't think one of us was really faster than the rest of us until you started going long on the speed. The thing is that this track is so much more narrow when compared to Las Vegas. Obviously, Las Vegas, you don't necessarily see people running the outside wall around the corners. In this track, it's so narrow that you do have to run that outside wall to get around the corner if you're running the outside. So that's a big difference. This track does have quite a bit of more banking. And another critical difference is that this is a concrete racing surface as compared to the asphalt racing surface of Las Vegas. So they definitely do seem similar on the surface. So you think that they produce a similar type of racing, but this is, I believe that it couldn't be further from different. You really have to attack these two tracks in two completely different ways.
Yeah, and we saw that here tonight, and especially with that set of pit stops right there in the middle of the race where it looked like we could be getting a caution-free affair, but that is really where kind of things changed, and especially that caution with 10 laps to go was really where things changed. But incredibly enough, this is the first time that we're talking to you after a Fuel Grand National race since the beginning of Season 9, but looking ahead to the rest of the schedule, it's a very robust rest of the season. You've got Michigan coming up next week. That's a big track where we know that you and Vincenzo and a lot of guys really love to run. We've got street course coming up with Long Beach. We've got Chicagoland on the schedule. We got Bent Twig on the schedule. It's a very diverse schedule. You're in championship defense mode. What tracks are you looking at on the calendar to be area that you got circled as trying to get a really good run there? And what are some tracks there like, okay, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, but we can definitely get the job done?
Yeah, I'm obviously got Pocono and Indianapolis circled on my calendar. These are two tracks that Pocono is my home track. I grew up 15 minutes from the racetrack, and I couldn't even count how many different Pocono races I've been to. I never got to any of the IndyCar races there, unfortunately, but I went to several of the truck races, including the inaugural run, and I've been to at least 10 different Cup races at Pocono. So that's a track that just means a lot to me. If there's one track on the schedule that means most to me to win, it's definitely the Pocono Raceway. And Indianapolis is a very similar vein to the Pocono Raceway. So both of those tracks, I've got them circled. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do very, very well there. Michigan is a track that we were very good there last year. However, I'm not so quite sure it'll stay the same this year. So we'll find out if we can get some revenge. But as far as tracks that I'm not necessarily looking forward to, Long Beach, I'm really bad at street courses. So if you look back to last year's Fuel Affairs, you'll see that the Chicago street course was my worst non-DNF finish. I ended up finishing 7th in that race. I had no speed in that whatsoever, and I'm not expecting Long Beach is going to be any different. And the two short tracks at the end of the schedule here with North Wilkesboro and Iowa are two tracks that I'm very iffy at. So I'm really hoping that I can kind of exploit the wild card that's going to be Bentig. I'm hoping that we can convert the Kansas setup that we had to a badass car at Chicagoland, and hoping that we can defend our really strong showings that we had at Pocono and Indianapolis. Those are just two tracks that mean a whole lot to me.
Yeah, and they're going to be really fun showings, as well as it's going to be a pretty fun next couple of weeks here on the NASRN. Like you were talking about, we got Pocono coming up in 2 weeks. We got Michigan coming up next week, and it's going to be some must-watch internet content here on the NASRN. But Apollo, before we let you go, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anybody that we want to shout out here on the NASRN for a third place finisher here tonight, Apollo Hyde, you got the floor.
Well, of course, I'm going to have to shout out what I'm going to be doing literally tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We've got a trip out to Sandusky, Ohio, to the Kalahari Water Park and Resort out there. We're going to be doing a live performance for Idols After Dark, the Sensational Idol Festival After Dark performance. There's a lot of different names on there that are phenomenal. I can't wait to be performing alongside a bunch of them. If you're able to get out to Colossal Con Prime, I highly recommend it. The Colossal Cons in general, whether if you go to Prime, East, Texas, North, and I believe they got one in Virginia now with all the different Kalahari resorts. I should also note that the Colossal Con East is actually at a Kalahari that's like 10 minutes from the Pocono Raceway as well. So That's why that's going to be the sponsor for the Pocono race in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I can't recommend going to one of these events enough. Kalahari is always a really a cool venue to go to, and the crowds there are always spectacular, even for the smallest emotion niche of events that might pop up there. So I can't wait for that, and I'll always plug any sort of event at a Kalahari.
Yeah, and that's going to be a blast there, and that race at Pocono is going to be a blast as well. But Apollo, thank you so much for coming on here post-race, and we'll see you next week up in the Irish Hills.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, Trey.
That was Apollo Hyde, driver of the number 100 Idle Gateway Subaru for Marvelous Racing, finally getting that first podium of the season. And we'll go into interview with our second-place driver of the number 74 Schaefer Group Chevrolet Camaro, Mr. Dunlap. You got a copy of us?
Yep, I do.
Well, from originally not being slated to race here tonight to battling at the line with Landon Lyle in the second closest finish in Field Grand National Series history, I just think that tonight has certainly been a roller coaster of emotions for you. And, overall, this looked like a very fun race here tonight, a very Vegas-esque race here for all you guys tonight. And just walk us through that last 10-lap run where everybody was on equal tires and everybody was just dogfighting right there at the end.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say that this one's for Rowdy Busch. Man, I miss him. We all miss him already. My thoughts and condolences go out to his wife Samantha, his son Braxton, his daughter Lennox, his parents Tom and Gay Busch, his brother Kurt Busch, and the rest of the entire Busch family. That's and friends, and we miss him already. It's sad, man. Just those final 10 laps there. I think that if I needed man, those final 10 laps was something else, man. That was a lot of fun and very nerve-wracking, especially those final 2 laps there where we were 4 wide at one point. It looked like, um, yeah, I mean, I feel like that the short runs I wasn't really good at. I feel like that I was probably the best on the long runs. I just I wish that final caution did not come out. But even still, I was still in a fairly good spot. I felt like just man, that close, man. My car was plowing tied into 3, and I was in the final lap there. I was like, yeah, that's gonna be it for me unless Landon makes a monumental mistake or I have, somehow the run of my life in those final 2 turns there. Man, that close again, but overall, I'm just really, really proud of the racing that we had in those final 10 laps there. That was really fun. I was not expected to I wasn't expecting it to be that tight for the win, and how crazy it was, but we all kept it clean, so that's always fun to watch. But nerve-wracking final 10 laps for sure. But man, those final 10 laps were fun as hell.
And they definitely were fun as hell. Watching those last couple laps, we go back to talking about Las Vegas, but, that was very reminiscent of your Bonsai 4-wide pass for the win a couple of months ago at Vegas when you guys, we said on the broadcast, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast, and we had it right there. But, going into this race, Nashville is a very tough track to drive. We said it races a little bit like Las Vegas in terms of the smidge of banking that we've got here, but it's 2 completely different surfaces. It's the same surface of concrete as we see at Dover. And what challenges do those really play into as a driver here between asphalt and concrete?
Well, I mean, you have to tune up your setups quite a bit because, concrete and asphalt are 2 completely different track surfaces. I feel like that at a track like Dover, depending on how you set up, is more prone to wear. So I think I was expecting this to be a tire management race of some sort. You have to really be good with your tires on the long runs. But honestly, I don't know. It felt like it even on the long runs, even if I was pushing hard, it seemed like that I had, somehow, somehow, I was able to still run a very decent laps. May have been the setup, may just be me. I don't know, but uh, I don't. I don't think I'll ever be good at this particular track ever again. That's probably the best I've ever driven at this Nashville Super Speedway. Yeah, it's just two completely different tracks from asphalt to concrete. Uh, Similar to Las Vegas, but I feel like that it's probably a lot more challenging than Vegas in some aspects because it's kind of a narrow track than Vegas, uh, and unlike Vegas, you have to use a lot of your brakes here, so. That definitely comes into factors as far as how you set up your brake bias and your tire pressure and everything else as well just to be able to get the car to turn very well, messing with your trackball and all of that. So, yeah, it was two completely different tracks, but very very fun for challenging but fun for a driver.
It definitely was very fun for us as well. And going into that finish here, you and Landon side by side, right at the line. You guys were running a little bit different lines than you were running throughout the race. You were running the lower line in that last run, and he was running the high line. Is there anything you think you could have done differently in that photo finish, or do you think Landon got that as about as clean as he could?
He did his best. He did as hella perfect as you possibly could. Um, had a shot at him in I think 4 or 3 laps ago, but it's just that the high line in turns 1 and 2, it seems to be really more in your favor. You could be able to get through the first half of the turn, feel like you'll be able to slide up in front of the driver on the outside of you, but it seems like that outside line, you just really get a good run off of the uh, turn 2 there, and that's what really was the preferred line of the turns 3 and 4. It's a bit of a interesting case because you have to kind of diamond it in a way, if you know what I mean. Just kind of diamond it, drifting up high, then turning it down low, or you kind of run the bottom, or you kind of run up high. You could probably get the same amount of speed. Really, I think it was just how. I think it really all comes down to how you set up, what your setup is, because everybody was running completely different setups tonight, and I think that was given how everyone was running different lines in 3 and 4. It was definitely I could tell that many drivers set up their cars pretty differently. So yeah, and I was plowing tight into turn 3 on the final lap there. So I think if it weren't for that, I think I might have had him on the outside. Might have even been able to cross him over on the inside a lot faster, be able to get around and come into the line. But yeah, I don't know. You never know. I mean, it was unfortunate for the plow to happen. I think that really hurt my chances there. But even still, just awesome race and a hell of a win to Landon. That was some perfect defensive driving there. He's a hell of a racer, and I'm happy that he won this race. Because I mean, there's a lot of drivers in this race that I would love to win. I don't think everybody I would love to see everyone win, really. But to see Landon with that masterful defensive driving he had, well done, well executed.
He did a great job, and it took three of the best in the series to put him to the test, and he passed with flying colors. And unfortunately, somebody's got to finish second. You got that second spot by only 4/100ths of a second in a dogfight to the line. But Donald, before we'll let you go, we'll give you the floor to thank anybody that you want here on the NASRN. If there's any sponsors you want to shout out for a second place finisher, the floor is yours.
Yeah, shout out to you, Trey, for broadcasting the race. Shout out to everyone watching at home. I hope those final 10 laps was really fun for everyone. It certainly was from my cockpit view. Shout out to all the drivers in this league and all the drivers who participated in tonight's race. They all did a wonderful job. Shout out to Apollo, Drew, and Lennon for that amazing battle for the win there in those final 10 laps. Uh, Shout out to Tyler for the league, Tyler Stallhood for the league. Uh, Shout out to Team EFR. Shout out to everyone for making me a better driver. But And you know what? The beauty of it is that even though I finished second, the beauty of it is that there's always next week. So I'm hoping that I'll be there next week. I'm not entirely sure, but even still, I mean, I cannot complain about a second place finish. I'm very proud to have that second place finish, considering where I started at for sure. So I started from the back to the front. So I feel really good about my race tonight. And like I said, I don't think I'll ever be this. I don't think I'll ever have another race like I did at this particular track ever again. That's probably the best I'll ever get at this track. But can't wait for the next week or whenever the next race I'll be able to participate, and hopefully I'll be able to finish one spot better. But like I said, this one's for Rowdy Busch. We all love you. We miss you, Rowdy Busch. One of the best I've ever seen. Just I'm sure he's up in the sky. Who's smiling. Because I think he would be proud to see the performance that we all did tonight. So
That was certainly a Rowdy level performance that we had here. Like we're talking about, 4 wide, going for the race win. Does not get any better than that. The NASCAR Cup Series could take a couple lessons on just how insane these races have been here. And it's certainly been a very emotional last week here from the NASCAR community. And glad to see a ton of people come here in support of Rowdy and his family here tonight. But Dunn, thank you so much for coming on post-race. And I know you're going to want to be here next week because I don't think anybody else wants you to be here next week because Dunlop Rod plus Michigan equals a very tough rest of the day for everybody else. That has been your wheelhouse, especially in the Sportsman Series, and we'll hopefully see you in the Irish Hills next week, man.
yeah, you never know. I hope to be there next week, but if not, I'll be here at some other race.
All right, have a good night, man.
Thank you. You all do the same.
User was moved
That was
out of
Dunlop
your
Rod,
channel.
driver the number 74, the Schaefer Group Chevrolet Camaro. Your runner-up finisher here tonight. It's time to bring in the man of the hour.
User
Driver
was
of the
moved
number
to your
75, Forever Rowdy, Toyota Supra. Mr. Landon Liley got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth.
Yes, sir.
Well, that was certainly a book-ended race of sheer domination from you tonight, and kind of out of nowhere, to be honest, where we saw you lead the opening about 23 laps of the race, and then fall back a little bit on that pit cycle, and end up with one of the most insane finishes we have seen here in Fuel Grand National. First and foremost, congratulations on your first career Grand National win.
Yeah, thank you very much. Kind of a coincidence tonight. I was able to run, and my first fuel start was this time last year, season 6, Nashville. So I guess it all just kind of came together. I finished second there, and I wasn't expecting to, win or anything tonight. I just wanted to run and have some fun,
Yeah, and definitely some fun was had here tonight. So we'll start with the restart with 10 laps to go. You're restarting in the 4th spot, if I'm not mistaken. But the run before that, you, Dunn, and Will Goss had been chipping off everybody one at a time, and it looked like that you three were going to battle it out for the race win before that caution flag came out. Just walk us through the final 10 laps after that crazy restart, and especially the final 3 laps where it was a complete bonsai bar fight between you, Drew, Apollo, and Dunn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The car was a rocket ship, but it wasn't meant for me. It really, it's hard to explain that. I was really good on the short run. I couldn't keep it just right for the long run. And I was really good on those restarts, especially the last one. That 3-wide move off the bat was not something I was expecting, but I couldn't back out of it. And I think the 4, Drew Fast was able to off Dunn for the majority of the last 10 laps. And then when Dunn was finally through, honestly, I really thought I was going to lose. We've always had some really, really classic battles together, so shout out to Dunn. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much full push. I mean, the top was really a lot better than I thought it was at this track. So it was kind of weird to get adjusted to that. But the setup, man, it turned. That car was really, really fast. And I used my right front up the first probably. Well, I tried using my right front up the whole time because I wasn't doing that the entire race. I was using the right rear, and that's kind of where my speed is. And then I was able to use my right rear to kind of even it out and get that run off the corner, especially the top when Dunn got there. And really, it was just a matter of holding off. But once was it 74 got behind me, I was really just I was fighting it. I had to do some blocks, I had to make him use a different line. It was a really good battle. That was one of the best battles I've ever had. Yeah.
And that was a great battle between you and Dunn in the final 3 laps where, we saw that you were really running the low line for the majority of the race and Dunn was running the Larson line up top, but it really swapped in the last 2 laps where you took away the high line from him and he subsequently took away the low line from you. Did you notice any difference running between the difference between the 2 lines, or do you think that you kind of had him beat either way?
No, I definitely think if it was another lap by, he probably would have beat me. But like, it was very strange because you would bottom out if you went a little bit low into one. And I knew what the line was, but I didn't know how to be like efficient, consistent, and that was my issue the entire race, which is why I lost the lead at like I don't know 20 or something. But like it was when I went to the top. I knew he knew how to run the top. I've been watching him, so I ran the top, and it was just enough to be able to work. Um, it looked easy. It wasn't for me. I know it looked way easier on the broadcast, but especially on the last lap, uh, I really messed up in 1 and 2, and I just went too high. And he had a really good run. I had to just block it, and I ran the bottom, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose." But thankfully, the bottom is arguably a little bit better in 3 and 4 than in 1 and 2, and by 40 thousandths, I think I just barely held him off. I mean, that was
40,000th.
yeah,
Exactly 4/10 4/100th dead.
that is crazy. I mean, I know if I just knew what I was doing a little bit better with the lines, like maybe could have had an easier way of holding them off, but got away with it still, and well, I had to paint a quick little car since I just kind of did it last second, and so I put the Rowdy Forever on it, and had to do it for Rowdy, man. Got the KVM font, 75. It's cursed, but I mean, had to do it, and got my first fuel, and I could be happier. Oh, and my home track. This is my first. Believe it or not, it's my first open setup win, first win at this track as well. So very special for me. For more than one reason, is just a really really good battle, and I think many people will be proud to see that tonight.
Yeah, and of course, like you mentioned, you did it for Rowdy. As we were talking about it a lot. Just how emotional this last week has been. It's hard to believe that it's only been a week since his unfortunate passing last Thursday. But what does it mean? Like you mentioned, you carried his number font, you carried his manufacturer, you carried the Forever decal, Forever Rowdy decal on the front hood. What does it mean to get your first career win at your home track? As the first Fuel Grand National win after his unfortunate passing.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's certainly special. I wish I could have done it in a bit of a better scheme. I really didn't think of a whole lot until the last like hour and a half. So I decided to just get a white car and just put the number on it. But I had to make it special. I mean, this is Nashville. You had the iconic guitar smash and everything. And again, it's my home track, so it really just culminates really well. A few months back when Biffle had passed, I ran a Affleck 07 scheme in his honor, and I won that as well. So I don't know if I have a thing for this sort of tribute car deal, but it feels really good for me just to be able to say that I did it and honor them in some sort of way. I know and respect the whole community for coming together like this, and multiple leagues have been having the Rowdy Forever titled races, and it's just been really really cool. And with just the whole community, NASCAR community in general, not even NR, this whole thing has been really really special. With just how it's been treated, I don't think there was a single dry eye during the Coke 600 pre-race. Yeah, I couldn't be happier with how this race went, and it's really, really special for me. And yeah.
It took just a hell of a drive from everybody to try and get you beat tonight, but you were able to get that first career win, so congratulations on that. Before we let you go, Lanny, what we'd like to do here on the NESRN is for everybody that's interviewed post-race, we'd like to give them the floor to thank any sponsors that they want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NESRN, first-time winner here tonight, and no place other than his home track, Mr. Landon Lyle. The floor is yours.
Man, there's not a whole lot, but thank you to my friend Skyler for making the scheme last second because I couldn't do it, and thank you for the broadcast. I love and respect everyone that does, takes time out of their night to do a nice little broadcast. It's always great, and that's about it, though. Thank you very much.
Man of a few words, but hey, you know what? You put it out out on the track, and congratulations to you, man, and welcome to the Fuel Grand National Winners Club.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You too.
User was moved
That
out
was
of
Landon
your channel.
Lyle, driver of the number 75 Forever Rowdy Toyota Supra, winner of tonight's Rocket for Rowdy 180K. We're going to take one more look at this insane final last 3 laps of the race to just show how crazy this entire night was. We're going to start here on lap 80 as Leprod was side by side with Landon Lyle. We're going to start it from here. And this is where things really got nuts between these two. And just wait until the next lap when Drew Fast's going to make it, send it 3 wide. But these two just about bumped a little bit off the corner. Dunn wasn't able to get the drive off. And like he said, turns 1 and 2, the high lane was just something else. And we saw that from Landon all night, especially in the late stages of that run. Here comes the 74, and watch this 4 machine. Diving back down to the inside. Watch where Fast goes here. Actually, I believe it might be the next lap where Drew does a bonsai move down low, because this is with 3 to go. So this is where we meant to start the initial replay. But this was with 3 to go, and then these guys all on top of one another. Will Goss had fallen back a little bit, which was a shame because he was going to be fighting for this win if it remained green. And watch this, everybody fanning out. You had Dunn going to the inside, and you had Drew going down. That was just about 4 wide for the race lead with 2 to go. And I thought Drew was going to run out of real estate. He went all the way up. Somehow Landon was able to keep his foot in it. And then it was just on from there. Dunn was all the way back in 4th. It looked like Landon might be off and sailing his way to the end here, but Dunn in the middle of 3 wide. 3 wide just about cuts the front end off of Apollo Hyde's Subaru. Dives it in deep. Landon had the run on the outside lane, and I thought he nearly gave it away there, going a little higher than he wanted to off the corner. Dunn went down low. Lyle threw the block. Dunn went back up high, back up to the outside lane. Apollo had a little bit of a run. It was too little, too late. Dunn setting up his run, and he was trying to be like Felix Rosenquist was on David Malukas, but Landon Lyle able to get the job done in one of the craziest finishes that you will see. And we'll go ahead and rewind it right to the point at the start-finish line. 4/100ths of a second. That's what it looks like, about half a car length from the front end of the car to about the B post on that 75. That's the margin of victory between 75 of Landon Lyle and the 74 of Dunn Leprod. Here tonight at the Nashville Superspeedway. 2 instant classic races to start off season number 9 of the Fuel Grand National Series. Couldn't ask for a better result. And as we are just past 11 o'clock Eastern Time, it's been a long day for me personally. For those that don't know or came in a little bit late, this was a very last-second broadcast. Originally, this was going to be tape delayed to tomorrow night. That's why some of the number tags were a little bit incorrect. That's why this Michigan logo was unfortunately a little bit darker than I would want it to. But That is the beauty of doing races live, is you get to see this in person. Nobody knows what's going to happen. You have no idea who's going to win. And it comes down to 4/100ths of a second. Like Apollo Hyde said, the second closest finished in Grand National history, and it belongs to a first-time winner. That's back-to-back first-time winners in the Grand National Series here in Season 9. That's the amount of talent that we've got. And, of course, if you want to join, if you want to partake in the insanity that is the Fuel Grand National Series, link for the Fuel Discord server down in the description box below. But before we get out of Dodge, we're going to go through a top-down list of the drivers, beginning with Landon Lyle, who led 38 laps tonight. That was the most of anybody. He won by 4/100ths of a second over Dunlop Rod. Apollo Hyde finishes in third. Drew Fatson and Will Goss rounded out the top 5. Ike Durbin rounded out to finish in 6th. Crystal Bennett finished 7th. Vincenzo Focasato was 8th. Emi Schizzato finished 9th. And Blake Warren, a good recovery for the 83 team. They finished in 10th. Tala Aziz, after being disconnected from the server earlier on, she bounced back to finish in 11th. Tyler Stallhood was 12th. Brett Warren was 13th. Nicky Conti finished in 14th. And Truck Togger finished in 15th as the last car on the lead lap. Actually, Nicky Conti, Truck Togger was the last car on the lead lap in 15th. Rich Roy was 16th, 17th was Victor Nunez, 18th Taylor Stolworthy, 19th was Connor Edwards, and 20th was Bobby Simpson. 21st was Tate Dorsey, 22nd was RJ Bishop, 23rd was Corbin Wentz, 24th was Joey Tartamala, and 25th was Kenny Campos, 68 laps down of the 5 cars that failed to finish the race. But that's going to do it here for tonight's broadcast of the Fuel Grand National Series. On behalf of Tyler Stallhood and everybody that is part of the Fuel Racing League, my name is Trey Wright, saying so long from the crazy town here in the Music City. So long from the Athens of the South. We'll go up to the Irish Hills of Michigan next week for the Kettle Lakes 100 for the Michigan International Speedway. That'll air on June 3rd at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here on your home for the Fuel Grand National Series, the North American Sim Racing Network. But on behalf of everybody for the Fuel Racing League, my name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Nashville, Tennessee. This has been a presentation of the Fuel Grand National Series, part of the Fuel Racing League, here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you all next week at Michigan.